a real blessing to have this chance to be with you here today on this Wednesday. And today I'd like to go to a passage that we don't talk about much, but it's part of the section of Ephesians that is in the subject of being filled with the Spirit. Chapter 5, verse 18 says, "Be not drunk with wine where is in excess, but be filled with the Spirit." And then you have the evidence of being filled with the Spirit, having a God consciousness and having that reality of the Lord, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. And then having thankfulness for all things unto the Lord, verse 20. And then submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Then you have that wonderful passage on marriage, how it's paralleled to our relationship with Christ. We are his bridegroom, and it's a wonderful, beautiful passage on marriage and also on the relationship of the church with Christ. And then you get into chapter 6. We're very familiar with the admonitions to children to obey and honor their parents, and for fathers to treat the children right and bring them up, train them in the things of God. But then sometimes we'll miss the next passage. It says, all still in this matter of being Spirit-filled. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters, according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of your heart, as unto Christ, not with eye service as men pleasers, but as the servants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart, with good will doing service as to the Lord and not to men. One of the great lights in our culture is a Christian who is serving the Lord by having the right attitude toward his employer. These are really interesting days for employers, and it's very difficult many times to find people who are dedicated, hardworking, willing to give of themselves to the job that they have. And here we find that those, and this was dealing with slaves and masters, which is even more intense, but there needs to be an obedience, and there needs to be a reverence, and it should be as you are serving Christ, that he's speaking through that boss, not to just gain favor through eye service, but as a servant of the Lord, doing the will of God from the heart. With goodwill doing service, it's to the Lord and not to men. You know, one of the ways to really see if you are walking in the Spirit is to see how the attitude is toward those that you are working for. We've lost that today. It's nothing to hear people complain and gripe and not do a full day's work and just have a bad attitude. But as believers, we need to be a testimony to our bosses and also to the other employees. And above all, we need to realize that we're serving the Lord. And one of the things in these dark days is for us to be a light on our job. Many times people don't realize that life, it really does center around a full-time job. If you've got a full-time job, you're spending more time there than anywhere else. And if you're not walking with God, no wonder we get discouraged, and no wonder things press in around us and on us. So let's follow what the Lord says. Let's let the Spirit of God cause us to be a great testimony to our employers so that we can show forth his glory.